We were like, "अरे हो जाएगा America, will do it. Like it's possible." And we were all mentally very ready. कि यार it's not working out. So Babson, I'll not go forward because of the STEM. The course is phenomenal, but my priority was getting there. And so Boston declared it on like 15th of May or something that this course is a STEM program now.
Then the third filter, which was very difficult actually during that time, was the GRE part because we didn't have a GRE score. We were looking for waivers, that too around round three applications, right?
So because I had entrepreneurship experience, I started my bakery and also marketing agency. So I had those kind of experiences to share. And apart from that, I think Babson had it there because that course is very core for entrepreneurs. It opens up gates for them only. For Babson, it was entrepreneurship, but for Boston, I believe it was my course from marketing and the certification that I have into brand management that clicked with them.
Hi guys, so today we have Akrati with us, right? So she has got two offers. First is from Boston University and the second is from Babson College. And right now she has decided to go forward with her Boston admit right now with a scholarship of $10,000 as well, right? So it's been an incredible journey of Akrati with us. It has been like around 7 months, 8 months of a journey with her. And this podcast will highlight what ups and downs or what challenges did she face as an Indian student going abroad, right? In the MS courses and management. Okay. So Akrati, let's begin with your background a little bit. So if you can introduce your background, your profile, it'll be really helpful.
Yeah. Hi, Nikhil. Hi, Karthik. Thank you for having me here, first of all. So, I am a psychology grad. I've done my graduation in 2020 from a university in Bhopal itself. That's my hometown. Post that, I have worked into marketing because that's what my interest is, and I developed it during my college days. That I like doing it while I was working in an NGO. So I decided to get into it and work real time. I have done a job for a year in the field of marketing, and apart from that, I have done a course into it. That's
Mm-hmm.
from Upgrad plus Mica, and it's an advanced marketing course with
Mm-hmm.
a specialization in brand management. So that is
Right.
what my profile is. I have been doing a lot of freelancing work, and everything is mostly related to digital marketing.
Okay. So that's very interesting because we have had students who have done psychology in their bachelor's and then they want to switch to the management side using their own merits, I would say, right? So they don't want to be a complete, I would say, for money managers. They want to use that psychological experience into their business sense, right? So I
Right.
think that's a very unique thing that you have been doing. And to be honest, many people want to follow you, but trust me, you have taken so many sessions where people are afraid to do so. They don't want to leave psychology because they think, that management schools will not accept, which is not true at all, right? Okay. Next up, I'll just introduce Karthik here, right? So Karthik here has been the career strategist for Akrati. So in the AMP procedure, one career strategist is assigned to the student to take the student from the zero level, that is just shortlisting or so, till the editing, till the applications and visa and even till flights. One particular person is assigned so that you guys have a contact point to get all of your doubts resolved, right? So I think Karthik was a career strategist for Akrati. And Karthik, so first of all, first question to you is, what was the first thing that came to your mind when you heard Akrati's profile for the first time, or you had a first interaction with her?
So first, I think it was the onboarding call that I had on board with Akrati, and then definitely with her profile, I was actually I was excited to work with this profile because psychology and then interest towards social media marketing, digital marketing. So the profile was actually very interesting to work on. Plus, we were at that kind of a time phase that wherein we were looking for universities with waivers, without GRE, right? And getting top universities with that in that time frame was difficult, right? So it was a great experience ultimately, and with her profile I felt that I was connected to it, right? I had that interest that okay, social media marketing and the kind of personality Akrati has, she's very sweet and she approaches every decision and everything logically, right? So that was my first impression with that.
Great. Take it. So first of all, then Akrati, my quick question to you would be like after doing psychology, you had an inclination towards the social media marketing, but not many of your psychology batchmates would have thought so. They would have gone for a
Right.
master's in psychology or a PhD for that matter, right? Assuming. So how did it feel like to take up this challenge to switch towards management, or what were the things that actually pushed you to take this management course?
Right. So, to be honest, I am this kind of a person in life. So, I have switched a lot of careers. Right. I am 25 years old, and I sometimes think ki doing a MS in this age is like, oh my God, abhi to you already grown up. But then all these barriers broke, and I mostly this course that I'm pursuing, that's management. It is so intriguing. The curriculum is so nice. It has a mix of product management I'm really wanting to explore. It has a right amount of marketing modules, and I'll be going towards doing great projects into the same. And apart from all of this, there is this small finance part in this course. And I am not really good at finance. So I am most excited to take up that challenge and understanding that after so long, I am taking some part of maths in my life. So, this is a very good mix. And my filtration started because with you guys only. So I think
Okay.
that one aspect of Ace My Prep, that you guys filter out a lot of stuff for me. Ki what do
Hmm.
you want to do? How do you want to do? And what your career looks like in 5 years, what your career looks like in 10 years. I don't think so. A lot of agencies might go to a student's detail in that depth, but with you guys, you did that, and so I wasn't really aware of Boston University's MSMS program where I am standing right now. It is something that was introduced to me by you guys only. So that whole journey helped me choose this course wisely. Because
Hmm.
it has right kind of filters. Plus, I was looking for something that has a GRE waiver. I did not have a lot of time. I applied. I started my application in March for September, and it was already very late.
Hmm.
So to get Boston in itself is a big deal when you're applying so late. So yeah, that I think it was a more, if I can say, it's a 50% my effort and 50% you guys effort that I got this, and the right role and right course and right university for that.
Okay, take it. Fair enough. So you brought out a very good point that you kind of eliminated all the options and then you filtered it down to
Right.
these courses, right? But as I recall, you applied to 5 universities, for example, right? You applied to different courses. It was not MIM everywhere,
Yeah.
right? So how did you come up with this permutation combination? Key this university, may this course will be the best for you.
Yeah. So initially, I had a word with you. I remember the very first call, and I told you that I want to go to USA. And with
Hmm.
a 3 year of graduation, and that too in like not a STEM field,
Hmm.
a lot of other people told me that it's not possible. But why I chose you was that you were like, "Arey ho jayega, America. I will do it. Like it's possible." So there it started because I reached out to get into a program into marketing, and
Okay.
then
Hmm.
I did talk to a lot of people on LinkedIn that are that are into marketing or management and different fields. And by talking to them, by taking their experiences, also talking to a lot of professors, I reached out to some professors through my own, like from the course that I'm going to
Hmm.
understand what this actually is. And apart from that, Karthik actually helped me a lot in figuring out that I am, getting into core marketing can be a little less, it will not open a lot of options for me, but will getting into management can open a lot of fields for me. And
Hmm.
this area or this insight was given to me when I was talking to Karthik. So that was one of the main thing that I got, because I got a lot of time to think about courses. I took to go through the curriculums and
Hmm.
decide on it. And every curriculum, to be honest, like every college that I filtered out, the curriculum was discussed very thoroughly. And through that discussion, I was able to figure out, okay, this is the best college and this is the best course. And
Hmm.
I this this is a very unique thing that happened with me, to be honest. So the course that I'm going forward, that's a STEM program. I did not shortlist it, and me and Karthik were in a dilemma in mid of the May. Ki our Babson is not STEM. I don't want to go forward. I don't want to go forward without a STEM course.
Hmm.
And suddenly Boston University is like, okay, this course is STEM from this year, and you can apply for 2 years of OPT, and that was like a lot of relief because I told Karthik ki if STEM does not happen, we'll move
Hmm.
our applications to January.
Oh.
And we were all mentally very ready ki yaar, it's not working out, so Babs and I'll not go forward because of the STEM. The course is phenomenal, but
Hmm.
my priority was getting there. And so Boston Boston declared it on like 15th of May or something that this course is a STEM program now. And I was like in a hint of moment, I'm going forward now because the university is great, the course is great. There's nothing that's going to matter.
Okay. So the gist of the story would be like the curriculum was very important to you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, very important curriculum.
Yeah. So if the curriculum gave you enough liberty and stability at the same time, you were on board with it. No matter if it is called MS in entrepreneurship or Masters in management or MS in
Yeah,
marketing, right?
yeah,
It was
right,
about the university's approach towards that curriculum, right?
right.
Okay. So one question to hear, Karthik, towards you, that Akrati mentioned two things. First of all, is that the first step that we do, course option job profiles, that helped her narrow down the course options that she wanted to go forward. So I would definitely want you to shed some light on that. How did what data did you give, or how did you help her come down to the conclusion that this is the right course for you?
So after we were discussing in between our discussions, actually we came to know about Akrati's entrepreneurship skills, right? That she has started some ventures on her own. So keeping all that in mind, because she was already interested in marketing, she knew about marketing. She had that idea that okay, these are the things in marketing that are being taught, and these kind of job roles I can get into. So management was something which was, I think, during our discussions itself, we brought it up, right? And with that course options and job profile sheet, so there were three courses basically. One was management, one was marketing, and one was entrepreneurship. So we explored that area. We sat, we researched, right, and then to bring that comparison. So we gave the kind of job roles as Akrati mentioned that after MIM your job roles there you have wide range of options available, right? So for marketing also we figured out okay there is a little scope, but again will it match it or not, right? So we after all these things and using that data, using the data of the companies, using the data of all the profiles and how we have worked forward, right? So with that we were able to compare all those things, and specifically what I did was I added the curriculum link specifically for one of the best marketing programs, one of the best entrepreneurship programs as Babson, right? And similarly for MSc management. So with that, it was pretty much clear through the curriculum as the emphasis is there that which program and what kind of ROI will we get. So that was something that how we shortlisted and came down to these two courses that okay, we'll apply to for entrepreneurship, we'll apply to Babson for marketing and for as well as for MIM. We look at Boston, we look at I think there was UT Dallas, and there were all these various universities, including Ireland as well. We didn't restrict ourselves just to US. We applied to Ireland as well.
Yeah,
Right. Okay. Thank you. So I can understand how that really helped it, and but I would definitely say like following our procedure, we would have first looked at like 30, 40 universities or 20, 30 universities, right? And then narrowing it down filter by filter. What did you understand, Karthik, like from Akrati's preferences? Which universities will suit her, right? If what was one of the first second filters, I would say. First filter was location, first filter was curriculum. What was the second filter? Was it location? Was it her budget? Was it her, I would say ranking of the university? What exactly was the second preference?
So the second preference, I would categorize it as second and third as well. The second was actually the budget. I think we had a lot of discussions around the budget. I was trying to convince her that okay, let's if we are getting this in our budget, then definitely that was one of the most important filters. Location, I think we decided on location as well. That I think the core marketing areas or the core marketing locations where it is most prevalent, right? So we decided on that, but then the third filter, which was very difficult actually during that time, was the GRE part. Because we didn't have a GRE score, we were looking for waivers that too around round three applications, right? So which was difficult. So the second filter was definitely the budget. And when we shortlisted down the budget, we knew that Ireland was way more cheaper than US at any day, right? but still we had better options in US. So we had that discussion. We knew that okay, we were aiming for scholarships. That was one of the most important things. And I think till the end, we tried. We were after Boston. We were after Babson to give us scholarships, give us scholarships. We did a lot of recent updates on our application, on our profile as well. So that these two filters, like after I would say curriculum, it was your her budget and it was GRE GMAT scores. That was the three main filters.
Great. I think I was going to ask that. So, Akrati, how did it feel like not having a GMAT GRE that too in February? Because you started a little bit late, right? So, and many people would have told, and even if you read online, many people would have told you that management school skill you need a GRE GMAT. So, how confident or how anxious were you that you didn't have a GRE GMAT score in February?
So I was very anxious to be honest, but uh, the first filter that we had was not having a GRE GMAT, and I was made understand. I was very sure that it's not time to. There's no time to actually go and prepare and give this exam right now. So
Hmm.
all the colleges that were given to me, like the shortlisting that was given to me, was with the waiver, and that was of the utmost relief because I could see that okay, these are the options that I have right now. And I'll add to Karthik that I also wanted to go in this September only. I was like, I want to just go to any university in this September. I cannot extend it. Although we did plan differently afterwards, but yes, not having a GRE GMAT was one minus point. I'll
Hmm.
To everybody who will be hearing this podcast recently, I'll suggest to have a GRE GMAT score. That opens up a lot more options. But if you, I always had a filtered list of universities, so it was helpful for me to decide to go to which university. That came as a plus point for me.
Right. So, Akrati, like without GMAT GRE, you were able to get into Babson, Boston, such top
Yeah,
universities, top
yeah,
50 with scholarships. No, I'm not saying just admit. So it's not was a scraped admit. It was that you were wanted there, right?
yeah,
What exactly do you think in your profile really worked out? Because I've heard that you have had entrepreneurships, right?
yeah.
So can you just show, throw some light on what kind of entrepreneurship or what do you think that really clicked with the university?
I so for Babson, I'll say it is a entrepreneurship program only. So because I had entrepreneurship experience, I started my bakery and also marketing agency. So I had those kind of experiences to share. And apart from that, so I think Babson had it there because that course is very core for entrepreneurs. It opens up gates for them only. And apart from that, the kind of essays that were designed. So me having a profile is one thing, but it is always about how you've been marketed.
Hmm.
So you guys, like everybody, we sat down, we wrote a lot of insights. The course that I pursued, that was from Micah. We sat down and we listed all the projects that I have done. For maybe it might be just a project to have numbers there, but it made sense to the universities because it I got good marks in those projects. So the way it was all settled and the way the essays were written was I think one of the most important part. And for Babson it was entrepreneurship, but for Boston I believe it was my course from marketing and the certification that I have into brand management that clicked with them. So
Okay.
for both of the universities, the preferences, according to me, were different. And in Babson, I got a scholarship from them, but in Boston, I did not. So when we approached to them for scholarship, we did highlight the points of
Hmm.
me doing freelancing work in the recent 4 months.
Right.
So that was something that was again highlighted in a very systematical way, and that helped me gain a $10,000 scholarship in the very last moment. I'll say 24th or 25th May to be precise,
Hmm.
that I got a mail from Boston of getting a scholarship. So that was the whole thing.
Right. So I think 2 points to be taken here is either you meet the heart of the university itself, because
Yeah,
Babson itself is an entrepreneurial college. It's the number one
right.
entrepreneurial college for that matter. And its entrepreneurship course is very highly estimated or very highly ranked, even beating some IBs to be very honest, right? So because you're a inbuilt entrepreneur and you have entrepreneurial projects on your profile, you meet the heart of the university, you meet the
Right.
ideology. That
Yeah.
click directly. And with Boston, your extracurriculars or co-curricular certifications that you did, the way that you wanted to improve your profile, right?
Yeah.
That really clicked with them. I think these are the two aspects, and I think that's a very brilliant point, I would say, because that's exactly what we also tried to inculcate in our shortlisting. Right? You will
Yeah.
never hear one person cracking 8 Ivy League universities. You will never hear that, right? Because 8 Ivy League universities have different approaches, different, I would say, visions, different hearts. So there are different things in different universities. Princeton is more of a literature or research kind of a place, so it will find more research things. And Columbia is more of a management school or psychology school, so it will want more of soft skills on your resume, right? So that is, you need to understand that in the same rankings in the top 10 or top 20, there'll be 4 universities that will be made for you, where your profile automatically is a natural fit to that university, and there'll be 4 universities that will not match your profile. I think that's where I think you guys did a brilliant job of shortlisting universities and played to your strengths rather than trying to make everything work. You guys stuck to the strengths part, and I think that really worked out beautifully for you. Great. Okay. Perfect. And you brought up the point of essays, and I would just like to. I was going to come there. That it's not just about what you have done in the past; it's also about how you explain it to the university, right? Because right now in this podcast, if I ask you 5 questions, I will get to know more about you, and I might be intrigued to give you an offer letter. But this is an I would say setup, or this is an opportunity that most students don't get in a university application. The university only sees your resume, SOPSA, LOR, right? So how did that work? Like, who was referring you? Who was wrote you those letter of recommendations? And what do you think was the application 60% of the application? What was the weightage of it?
Okay, so I think in my whole profile, essays and LORs weighted quite a lot. I
Mm-hmm.
believe it might be like 40%, 30, 40%.
Mm-hmm.
And how we approached this was Karthik used to send me these question list on mail. Where the very first thing I have to do is just write whatever I feel about it. For example, the question is that why do you think we should get you an admin to this university? So all the random things that I think about myself, I have to just jot that down into that particular Word file, and then I used to send it to Karthik. Then we used to sit in a session together and decide on what points which can actually be elaborated and what points are absolutely useless. And after that filtration, after explaining, and also a very smart thing that we did was we added data to every point that we tried to elaborate. So, for example, if that was entrepreneurship, Karthik told me to just just inform him on what level I did it, or maybe what kind of profit percentage I had while I was doing that. So that it might not be an actual, like it was not, I'll not say ki it was a fixed data, but I had an idea कि अच्छा, okay, on papers I did this. So I told him कि around 5% profit or 8% profit, that kind of. And we decided to add that number to every point that we thought it was important. And then the third step was starting to send it to people who can write it in a brilliant way and send to me forward. I used to give it a read. We both decided, कि, okay, this is a fit, and then we used to send it forward. So it was a 4 step process. Um, but it was very useful because I think essays, especially in Babson, played a very important part. And I was informed, particularly about Question Business School, that they want to listen good things about them. It's like you should mention, कि, yeah, you are the best. Absolutely, it's the best, but then you have to also mention them that okay, we acknowledge you are the best, and that kind of detailing was something that I was pre-informed. So I also used to think in that particular way while I was giving the insights.
Perfect. And did Babson or Boston include an interview process?
Both of them had an interview process.
Right. So in your interview, when you went and they already had gone through your SOP essays or your entire profile, how did you feel? Like, do you think they read through your essays, or were there some rebuttal questions from your essays also?
So for Babson, it was a Kira interview. uh, it was automatic. It's like a website where you give the interview. So there were like 4 5 questions, but they were all very related to entrepreneurship. They were not my profile. Yes, sir, you did this to tell us this, but it was a gist of my profile that you did entrepreneurship. So we want to know how you did it and what do you think is very important in building a company, things like that. Because
Hmm.
that was my profile. And in Boston, in particular, I had a face-to-face interview, and in that I did have some questions from my resume of my work experience and my essays of what I started. So yeah, these were so in Boston. I think when you have a face-to-face interview, they did get back to you from your resume and from your essays.
Right. So how did the interview preparation with Ace My Prep also go? Because I remember you taking some mock interviews as well, right? So
Yeah.
how did that prepare you for these interviews? I would say let's talk about the panel interview first, not the AI interview. We'll cover the Kira interview later. But how did it prepare you for the Boston interview?
Yeah, so I was scheduled for like a mock interview. I had taken a mock interview now for quite a number of times. I think around
Hmm.
10, 12 times, including my IELTS and the college and
Hmm.
visa and everything. So
Hmm.
for Boston, I have taken around 4 to 5 rounds of mock interview, and I was given a set of questions that might be helpful. So for the very first time, it was a very impromptu session. It's like it's all there. Okay, these are the questions. How my just to check ki if I'm not prepared, how will I answer? And once that is done, I was given like a set of questions that might be helpful. And if I had to approach the particular person who was taking my mock interview, it was very accessible because I used to just tell Karthik that I do want to get in touch, and it was set up. So post the second interview, like I was given a set of questions, then I need to prepare them, and for another round, those were asked to me.
Hmm.
So in both scenarios, when I'm not prepared and when I'm prepared, the person could tell me a correct review.
Hmm.
And this was for the Boston University particularly because
Right. Right.
they he told me that you have to somewhere put out this thing ki, you really want to get there. You really like you know the rankings of Boston University and you know how privileged it is. So just showcase that in the interview. So
Hmm.
I did it in a similar way.
Got it. Got it. Take it. And Karthik, one question to you coming here is she talked about essays and interview and how wonderfully it portrayed the best of her, right? What challenges but did you face? Because you have had multiple students getting into Boston or Babson or even Michigan Ross, such kind of universities. What exactly were the challenges in Akrati's profile that you knew that we had to prepare for the most, or and how did we prepare for it?
I think with the essays, first I'll start with one part first. So with the essays, actually Babson and Boston both they had various different set of questions, right? And I remember we were on a session and I was trying to get inputs from you and from Akrati itself. So there were certain vague inputs first, and then we were thinking that okay, what will happen, and how will we punch it, and how will we just start it, how will the essay come out. So exactly the first challenge that I faced was that I would not say it as a challenge, but I think the first step was actually getting out the inputs, just putting everything there, right? So that we can play around and we can just judge that okay, out of these six inputs, what we can play around, right? And quantifying it was something that I focused on, and I asked her that even if it is 5%, 6, 7, and even in the resume, even in the essays, right? So that was something that I felt. And towards the interview, as Akrati also mentioned, it clicked back to me that the first interview was very impromptu. It was just like I introduced Akrati to the panel, and she was, very, I would say, nervous in the starting, right? But when after that interview, the review came in, right? So I told her that okay, it's fine, it's the impromptu interview, and then with the upcoming sessions, you will feel that confidence once you are in the session. And as we mentioned that there is this heart of every university, right? So as we mentioned about Boston is a university that likes to hear about them, right? So we focused on that. Similarly, that was reflected in the essays. And I think not a big challenge. I think we were in the timeline, so chasing the universities, chasing the applications, everything to be done on time. The timeline was something which I felt like a challenge, but it was an achievable challenge, definitely.
Got it. Take it. So majorly, the main trick here was to convert it into quantifiable measures because many of us have qualitative achievements, right? But sometimes, for example, if I'm doing well in my company, I have created something good in my company. I know that no one else in my team would have been able to do so. But how to bring out is to show that you are in the top 5% of the company employee pool, right? So such kind of quantifying things really do help. That's true. Okay. And final thing I would definitely want to I don't know highlight here, Akrati, is that at the beginning of the podcast also I asked you. You started on February 15th, I guess, mid-February, and
Yeah.
by March second week, all of your applications were done, right? And by May, you got your offer letters. Now that is some brilliant timeline work, I would say, right? So, and it would not have been possible either without I would say either without you or Karthik's efficiency, right? So from your side, how did you feel like by deciding which universities to go for? And these are not just universities; these are places where you're going to invest 50, 60 lakhs, right? So within 20, 25 days, how did you come to the conclusion, or how did you feel like the process was to decide which universities will be the best within 20, 25 days?
Okay, so like I mentioned before, that all the filters that I provided were already in the list of the universities that was there. But deciding the final university, so we applied to top 5 universities of all out of all the universities that were given to me, and I would not say that the decision of getting into Boston came in 25 days, but
Hmm.
yeah, decision of applying to top 5 universities did came in like that 25 days, and that was only possible because we were behind each other. I was behind Karthik, Karthik was behind me of rushing things, not also, and I would not say that I was rushed to deciding university. I was given like 1 week entirely to
Hmm.
sit back and understand and have and ask if I have any questions regarding the curriculum, regarding the university, regarding the placement. And my filtration into 5 universities was pretty simple. It
Hmm.
was by budget.
Hmm.
It so Boston University was something that we applied. Both coming to the conclusion that yeah, it's literally not possible. But then it's one of the most love it's high rank university, and we're very late. But we should apply. We should just go for one of those universities, and and rest of the universities was something that इसमें तो हो जाएगा. So
Hmm.
that was our approach, that a good mix of uh, a good mix of universities that are on the medium range
Hmm.
and on a higher range, that was
Ambitious.
something that was given to me,
Hmm.
and this is how I decided on in applying into five. And I would like mentioned before, other filtration was done. So
Hmm.
द वेरी स्टार्टिंग की जो जो मुझे चाहिए था उसका हर चीज का फिल्टर ऑलरेडी हो चुका था. So
Hmm.
for me to sit back and just read through the curriculum was a easy process, and so it helped me decide faster.
It's not just about the university, it's also about the documentation, right? Because most of our students, I would say not most, some of them sometimes take 2 3 months to get all the documentation right, etc. But it would have been very difficult on your part also to sort every as you're not a fresh graduate, you have two
Yeah.
or three years of experience also. So it was not that you are just graduating, so you have all of the documents in place. So what process did you follow to get all of the documentation within 20 days? Everything is authentic, everything is perfect because it worked with Boston, so everything was perfect. So what process did you follow here to curate the documents?
Yeah, so basically, I reached out to AMP in January first. So
Hmm.
I got the list then of
Hmm.
what documents you need to apply to universities, and
Hmm.
because I was sure and I was certain that yeah, I want to get here, so I decided to accumulate all my documents from that time only. So I
Hmm.
too took around 1 month to make sure that I have my documentation in place, and there was some documentation that I did not have, so we did not really wait to get all of the documents. We decided to mail the university. For example, there was this letter that I wanted to get from the university, that it's a English, like I have
Hmm.
English medium
Medium of
universities.
education.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So we did not wait for all those small documents. We applied with all the major documents I had, and post then जो नहीं था उसके लिए भी separately started mailing universities that okay, this can be given to you a little later, and they were all okay with it कि अच्छा ठीक है, you can give this. And in the meantime वो भी arrange हो गया था. And for the transcript part, I'll say I did not have a transcript. So we decided to make sure that we make a PDF of all my semester mark sheets and give that to the university. Although I had to take a transcript later, and I did send it to Boston in a month or 1 month some time ago. But at that time, we worked out with a lot of documents that I did not have. We actually didn't waste a lot of time in accumulating what can take a lot of time. So
I think that's brilliant. Yeah, I think that's a very good point that you worked with whatever you had. You took a medium of instruction document in instead of an IELTS, which saved you a lot of time and money also, right? Then you instead of transcripts, you use your all of your semester-wise mark sheets to apply. And
yeah,
later on, when you finalize your university, then you have to submit your transcript. But that's a later process. So it didn't
right,
delay the
right.
application because of that. That's brilliant. That's I think very good work on both of you guys' part because wasting time. I'm not sure if you had applied by February end or sorry, March end or April first week. I am not Boston would have been possible. It was the time which was very essential because we have seen a lot of rejects after April in Boston, right? Good profiles also. But I think that was brilliant. Yes, time is of the essence. Okay, perfect. And now, Akrati, like now you're going to Boston. Now it's like a dream come true. As you said, it was one of the top universities, right? So what is your plan there? Like, do you have you checked out the curriculum? Have you checked out the campus? What is your plan there in going, and what do you want to achieve there?
Okay, yeah. So I've been talking to a lot of my seniors on LinkedIn. I've been connected to a lot of them. For that matter, the person who took my interview, I after the interview, I found her on LinkedIn. Sent her a connect request there and there. So that's first thing. Another thing is that I'm searching. So now I cannot apply for any kind of on-campus job until unless I'm there. But I have already made my resume. So in Boston, we have got this platform that's called Hunter. They have introduced it this year,
Yeah,
where for us, so we have to make our profiles, and there's this questionnaire, like a 4 or 5 page questionnaire, listing all our strengths, everything in detail for the employer to see. So a lot of that thing, a lot of backdoor things I've already done. And now when I reach there, I would like to settle. I would like to go and explore more on the on-campus job part, internship part, and start applying. And the Boston University itself, I think, is very fast-paced in that terms because I already had a session with one of my mentors there who actually informed me of how to make the resume in Boston style, and we did
yeah,
get like a whole PDF listing what is required, what is not required, and once I sent in the resume, they also gave me a feedback. This is something you can remove completely and all of that.
mm,
So this is what's been going on recently. I got my visa a little like
mm,
now only on 27th of July. So
mm,
I was very anxious on that part. So after I got my visa, now it's all packing and stuff going on, and searching for house. That's the most difficult part. I think
correct.
that I think for the incoming student, I don't know what other universities was Boston. They give you a lot of support. So I have a contact of all the people of all the ISSO people there. I can reach out to them. But I think the most important and difficult part is finding a house for me. So and also in like a limited budget. So for anybody
Yeah,
who's like going or will go, I think you should find in apartments very early, and maybe
mm,
like give a fixed amount to just fix it there because abhi I am
mm,
gonna go in next 10 days, and I don't have a
mm.
place. So
I
that's the
think we
major
might have
concern.
a solution for that actually. We might have a solution. So what we are doing is we are making all of the Boston students connect to each other who are going through us. Right? And there are around 10 people right now who are going to Boston. Some of them have
Okay.
sorted already. One of our students flew today for Boston MBA, right? But all of you guys will share the same campus, right? So you guys can work it out. We will try to do that as soon as possible as well. Okay. So that's the AMP community project that I wanted to talk to about, but you brought it up, so I'm just explaining. So every city, every big city or every university where we have substantial number of students, they'll be brought into a community, and this network has to be alive for the next 5 years. Okay. Reason is not just that housing is the first problem that you're facing as a study abroad student. There'll be multiple others. Next will be your part-time jobs, right? Then internships, then your full-time jobs. And for all this, the only thing that will work for you the most is a network, right?
Right.
Right now you have been very proactive, and I will compliment you on that, that you've been proactive, you have been talking to people, you have been taking feedback on how to do things, and that's brilliant. This is exactly what is required. Curiosity is required, and if you get to know, if you store information, you will be 10 steps ahead of other people. So one small question, because I would love to ask you this: when they actually gave you this resume input, and they gave you how many things are detailed there in the resume,
Yeah.
how did you feel like when you made resumes in India for your jobs or for your universities? How different is it? Is in Boston or to apply jobs there?
I will not say it's very different, but yeah, it has to be very, very point to point.
Hmm.
They don't need your explanations, and it is strictly a one-page resume. So they stress on this point that remove the projects that are old. You don't have to put in all your story in a resume. That's something that's need to be updated. So I too have recent projects that I basically updated in my resume, and I asked Jason, who is doing this for me, to whether should I still keep that in. So he told me that you keep it now, but once you start doing the projects, in you'll have to remove it.
Hmm.
So it's I'll say the stress on frequently updating and getting over with what you have done. अगर तुमने
Hmm.
एक साल पहले कुछ amazing किया था but you're still doing it, put that in and remove that. That's something that's stressful more.
Okay, fair enough. And Karthik, here I would definitely want your opinion as well, right? So one point that I wanted to highlight, that Boston didn't give a scholarship first, right? But you guys chased down that scholarship. So many students actually believe that the scholarship that can only come is from the department, which is not true, right? There are multiple places or faces that you can appeal to. So how did that work? How did you extract this scholarship for Akrati?
So the first step actually was what I would also recommend students is once you put in your application, you have time, right? You have time to do things, right? So keep doing something, keep adding on to your profile because the university itself, as Boston, we mailed it to Boston, we got a form, right? So the first thing that they asked was, what is, since you made an application, what are the recent things that you have done? So that is something that I would stress on, and I actually asked Akrati as well that okay, what are the things that we have done recently, right? So there were certain things that we didn't mention, but we brought it up, right? Certain courses, certain certifications, and I would say about the businesses as well that we were starting, that Akrati was actually doing. So we made pointers. We didn't, mail universities unnecessary essays, right? We just added pointers of the recent achievements, basically. So that is how we chase them, right? And it's actually a myth that you can only get a scholarship with your offer letter, right? After that as well. And what I believe is in that timeline, getting and bagging a scholarship was something exceptional and something what Akrati actually deserved, right? Because she had those updates to her profile. She didn't stop, that okay, my application is there, my offer is there, I am just working now at this stop, right? So that's what I recommend to people, that okay, once you put in your application, still keep on doing things, because the university, they already know what you have done, right? But they want to know what are the recent things that you are up to or what you are doing, and what have you done. So that's what I would like to stress, and that helped us eventually, because there were, I think, around 7 8 pointers that we added as a recent achievements. So that helped us to bag a scholarship, that too in the last rounds. And actually, I was very happy for that as well. I was very excited that we got a scholarship finally after those updates. So definitely that was the thing that we focused on.
Got it. Got it. So constant upgradation is the term I would use here. Okay. Okay, Karthik. So last two questions, right? First is, you said that you're anxious about the visa. So this was your first time flying abroad?
Yeah.
This is the first time. Okay. So how did the visa process go? How did our visa team help you? And what anxiousness was there even on the visa interview day? I know when someone in front of you gets visa rejected, it kind of sends chills down your spine, right? So how was that experience, entire experience?
I was very anxious. I will not lie. I wasn't. I couldn't really, because it's the after I've done all the thing, you're just all set. Visa is the one and the final decision. So I was very anxious, but I took a lot of mock rounds of visa interview, and even a day before, I asked Prachi to set a call for a mock interview, and it was very instant, but she did it for me. And I had a last, like, one day before my interview, I had a mock interview with her, and I asked him, I asked him to ask me all possible questions that he can, and he did that, and he gave me a correct review. And one thing that actually came out while the team was preparing was my finance part. So Prachi did set up a call one day before the final interview for a mock interview, and it gave me a lot of confidence because I got a real review. Okay, you're prepared and you're good to go. And one thing that came in between, so while I say it's important to take mock interviews, is uh, my finance part, the finance point, that's the most important part, came up, that I was giving my answer in the wrong way. And if this goes wrong, it's done. It's over for you.
Mm,
So me, Prachi, we both sat on this and we decided what exactly do I have to say. And
mm.
I reframed that answer. And then when I was, and this was the question I was actually asked in the final interview as well.
Wow.
And yeah, so I think that was a very plus point.
Mm,
Although the real interview was only like 40 seconds,
mm,
I just went there. They asked me why I'm switching my career from psychology to management, and
mm,
because I was very quick with giving this answer, I was very quick in giving this answer. And
mm,
then they asked me how am I financing my education. That's it.
mm,
Then my visa was approved. So it was not a long interview, like a 30-40 second interview. That's it. But
mm,
till the time it happened, I was anxious. All the preparation did cool me down. I was a little settled when I was there, but I think the anxiousness is very normal because we have been
mm.
preparing for this for past 7 months, and everything is dependent on this one thing. So
Yeah.
it's pretty normal, but you get over with it.
Perfect, perfect. I think preparation is the only way to tackle all of this. And yes,
Yeah,
those are just
absolutely,
45 seconds, but that can kill you because if something goes wrong
absolutely.
there, something goes wrong there. All these scholarships, Boston, everything is on the line. Although it's not really relatable to be very relative, I would say, because if you're prepared for your visa interview, there are very few grounds on which you can get a rejection if you're really prepared
Right.
for this interview. So I think preparation is the only way to counter. So, okay. Okay, Krati. So that was my final question. And last, I would just want a reflection on your 7th month journey with Ace My Prep. You interacted with me, you interacted with Karthik, interacted with Parachi, and I think interview invigilators also. So just to encapsulate anything that you would want to say about this entire process.
Yeah, I think I'm grateful that I found you guys, to be honest, because I did go to a lot of, in general, I do a lot of filtration. So I did go to a lot of agencies asking, kya karna hai, who can, but the kind of confidence that I got from you guys, ki, okay, you can get USA, and I did get USA, and I got a good university. That was something that made an impression in a very initial call that I had with you.
Hmm.
So all I'll say is that for anybody who wants to like come up with Ace My Prep on their journey to abroad, you will be very relieved because they have a very good initial process, and I think the start is good, so the end is eventually good, and you all are very approachable and accessible
Hmm.
because I even sometimes I used to like panic and message Karthik like at 11, and he used to pretty much respond. I was like, yeah, achhi baat hai. But it's a mix of system, it's a mix of a lot of support. And till now, if I reach out to Karthik, I am sure that he would help me with all possible things he can. So it's a great balance between all things that are pretty much required, and I am happy that I'm here. So thank you so much to all of you and all of your team, to be honest.
We are very glad for you, Akrati. And actually, it also takes a good, I would say, student because we have to very few students. You are from the psychology background, so you would understand the human concept to this process, right? We have not made everything automatic. We can any day, but we don't want to because we want to involve that human touch. But whenever there's a human touch, there has to be ups and downs, right? There
Right,
has to be ups and downs, and you will get anxious. You might sometimes, want to challenge us as well, and it's okay. But very few students actually understand that's a human concept that actually eventually will give out the results. So the way you have reciprocated, I would say the process and the amount of affection, I would definitely makes us want to be more involved with students like you, and not just here. We would want to continue our relationship even when you are in Boston, because there will be more students that will send to Boston. And they'll look up to you for advice. They'll look up to you for some suggestions, and I'm pretty sure that you will be a
absolutely.
great senior to that. Okay. So great,
Right.
Akrati. That was it from my end. Anything that you want to add on, Karthik, on Akrati's successful journey?
Yeah, so I think it had ups and downs, but I think as Nikhil, you said that it takes a good student as well. It's not just a good counselor and a good team. It takes a good student. So I have seen Akrati being very consistent, being on time. After my life, that okay, Karthik, we have to get this done. This is the deadline. But she always understood what I used to say. She was very logical that okay, so Karthik, if that's happening, then why is it happening? She used to understand that. So definitely, I'm very happy that you are going to Boston, Akrati, and definitely we'll stay in touch. We'll send more people to Boston, and honestly, you'll be the senior that they'll be looking up to. But obviously, all the best to your future endeavors, and I hope you crack all the things that you have aspired for, all the short-term, long-term goals that we discussed. I hope they become a
Right.
reality. Fingers crossed for
Thank you
that.
so much.
Yes, Akrati.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you
Okay.
so much. Thank you.
So that was Akrati, guys, and she's a bachelor's in psychology student going for a management program at Boston without a GMAT GRE. Psychology program is also a 3-year program. So there were multiple barriers for her, right? 4-year course was not there, no STEM background also, but wanted to go for a STEM program without GMAT GRE in a very small grasp of time, and she has done it all. Not just get into Boston, but with a $10,000 scholarship. Not an easy thing to do at all. So millions of congratulations to you, Akrati, and look out for our gift hamper actually that we are going to send to you because you have been one of our top achievers as well. Okay. Okay, Akrati.
Thank
So
you
great
so
talking
much.
to you.
Thank you. I hope this podcast bring in some insight to people, and I have not actually bored everybody of the things I have elaborated. So I hope it has some kind of learnings. And thank you so much, guys. You have been a great support throughout.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.